Welcome everybody, Farm Sim Snowy here. In this video I'm going to explain the gameplay settings in Farming Simulator 19. So I'm just going to talk you through the gameplay settings. I know the game's been out for quite a while now, but there's still people new to the game playing it to this day. So starting top left, the name of your save game. Default is my save game, but you can change that to anything you like. Time scale, you can go from anything from real time right up to 120 times speed for the time. Obviously real time, 1 minute in game is actually 1 minute in real life, but it is quite handy to use if you're in your farm and you've got not really much else to do and you're just waiting for your crops to grow. You can whack it right up to say 120 and they grow a lot faster, but obviously time will go a lot quicker. Economic difficulty is either easy, normal, hard, and that's basically just going to affect your buying and selling prices. So if you've got it on easy, you're going to get better prices for your crops at sell points. Normal's going to be your standard, and then hard you're not going to get as good prices when you go to sell your crops. Traffic is either on or off, so if you're on a map where there is traffic, because some maps don't have traffic, but if you've got it switched to on, there'll be other cars on the road for you to either avoid, or if you want to drive into them, it's up to you, but they're like brick walls when you hit them. Dirt, you've got a few options here. It's default is normal, but you can have it on fast, off, slow, back to normal. That basically just affects how quickly your machines get dirty. So if you've got it on fast, they're going to be getting dirty really fast. They're going to need washing regularly. If you've got it to off, then they're going to be pristine and clean all the time. Automatic engine start is either on or off. If you've got that switched to on, every time you jump into one of your vehicles, it will automatically start the engine for you. And then when you jump out, it will turn the engine off. I normally play with it set to off just because it gives you a few more options, because say you're filling a trailer up from one of your silos, and one of your helpers gets stuck, or you've got to go and sort them out or sort something out, you can jump out of that vehicle if it's still running, and it will still load up your trailer and go off and do whatever you need to do. Stop and go braking is either on or off. If you have it to switched on, if you hold the brake down, you'll slow down, you'll come to a stop, and then you'll start reversing automatically. If you have it off, you'll slow down, stop, you'll have to release the brake and then press it again to start reversing. Fuel usage is either low or default. Obviously low is going to be using hardly any fuel. I just play on default because I think it's a bit more fair and realistic. And then you have these 5 options, helper refill options. You can either have them set to buy or off. So say for instance you've got a helper fertilising one of your fields. If you've got that switched to off, you'll get a warning message come on the screen if they run out of fertiliser, and you'll have to stop what you're doing and go and refill them their tank and sort them out. If you've got it selected on buy, when they run out they will automatically refill that fertiliser spreader and carry on with what they're doing, which is quite handy, but it's going to cost you money, so just bear that in mind. So that's all of those. Plant growth is either fast, off, slow or normal. I normally play it on fast, but I normally either play on real time or ×5, because what I would say is if you've got it set to fast, be careful with your time scale, because if you've got both of them cranked up, you might have a little bit of a conflict there. And if you've got big fields, if you're trying to seed and you've got that on fast, you know, it's going to have different stages of growth on your field, which I've done before. I've had it on fast before and I've had quite a big field to do. And then when your crops start growing, sort of like split down the middle of the field, you've got two different stages of growth where it's trying to catch itself up. So just be careful of that. Plant withering is either off or on. If you've got it switched to on, when your crops get to the final third stage and they're ready to harvest, if you just ignore it and you don't harvest them, eventually they will wither, and then that will be that field and that crop ruin. So you won't be able to do anything with that. So just be careful if you've got that on. Crop destruction on or off. That basically just means if you've got it switched to on, if you drive through your fields with any of your vehicles, you will ruin that crop. You can put narrow tyres on your tractors, which means you can drive through your crops and you won't damage them. Periodic ploughing is either on or off. I think it's every 3 harvests. If you've got that switched on, you have to plough your fields. If you go onto your map, it usually shows up your field as red if it needs ploughing. And the same with lime, on or off. Every 3 harvests again. And on your map, if you've got it switched to on, it's normally like a turquoisey, bluey green colour your field will be if it needs lime. Weeds again as well, on or off. If you have that switched to on, if you've got weeds in your field, it will affect your yield if you don't get rid of them. So you'll have to get some herbicide and spray them to kill the weeds. And again, on your map, if there's weeds in your field, it will show up on your map as like a pink sort of colour. And then auto save interval, you can have anything from off 5, 10 or 15 minutes. I always play with off, because if you're doing some landscaping or you're trying to change some of your farm, putting buildings down, if you mess something up and you've got auto save switched on, if you're very unlucky, it will auto save and you'll end up still with that messed up state that you had. So if you have it off, you won't get that, but you do have to save the game manually, so just remember that. So if you look down the bottom left, I've got the option of save game if I want to. So if I hit square, because I'm on PlayStation, that will save my game. And then obviously right at the bottom we've got pause game. We can pause a game and go off and make a cup of tea if we want. So that's the basics of the gameplay settings. And I hope you found this useful. People that have been playing the game for years obviously won't, but hopefully the newbies will. If you have enjoyed it, please give us a like. If you haven't subscribed yet, then please do, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos of mine. I've been Farm Sim Snowy. Stay frosty.